For the final round, the last two heats of the Swann Insurance International Series, and the final two heats are going to determine the winners for this year. Conditions at Surfers Paradise are less than ideal, very hot and very humid, and this surface here on the Surfers Paradise circuit is very, very abrasive on the tyres. In practice sessions, the teams have been very worried about what the tyre wear has been and whether or not the riders will be able to match the times that they're likely to see on some of the other circuits. But we'll sit back and watch as McElnay, Campbell, Johnson and Co battle it out for this second last heat of the series.
All in readiness, the travelling marshals in position behind the field.
Ready to go.
And Dowson and Hiscock nearly jumped early, but then checked their bikes. McElnay gets a good leap from the outside of the front row.
Stuart Swann made a terrible start, but it's David Hiscock, the series defender, in the lead.
On a bike that's got a new engine in overnight, only 2 valves per cylinder, as Campbell goes down the inside of him as they approach the slow corner. Second gear for Campbell at the back of that brings them onto the back straight. 15 laps is...
And Campbell takes the lead, but Johnson's up the inside of him. And it's Johnson now who leads on the 500 Honda as they sweep left-handed out the back of the circuit.
Campbell challenging. And this is exactly what Team Honda didn't want, a dice for the lead between these two riders.
Johnson with the line on the inside, Campbell refusing to give way. But Johnson must come out on top of that with Hiscock in third.
McElnay 4.
Johnson did. Campbell said he was going to take it easy in the first heat. See what sort of placing and points he got on a bike that he only just got set up properly towards the end of practices. A fast circuit surface, average 154 kilometres an hour on the lap record.
McElnay now the danger in fourth position as he comes up on Hiscock.
Johnson, Campbell, Hiscock, McElnay, Craig Bye, and Michael Dowson.
McElnay tried to get under Hiscock under the bridge but couldn't do it.
21.55 first lap.
Lap record here is 1 minute 14.6, standing to Greg Pretty in 1980 on a Yamaha TZ750, average speed of 154.42 kilometres an hour. And now Andrew Johnson extends the lead.
Of 4 previous Swann heats this year, the 6th year in which the series has been run, there have been 3 different winners. Malcolm Campbell, Rob McElnay and Andrew Johnson, the only man to win 2.
McElnay past Hiscock.
Into third place, and much happier on a classical fast sweepers of a Grand Prix type circuit. He was not happy at Oran Park. You can see Dowson there on 1 is still in 5th behind Hiscock.
To be any chance of winning the Swann Insurance Series, McElnay must finish in front of Campbell.
And you can see already that he's pretty serious about it. Out after the 2 Honda riders.
Johnson, Campbell, McElnay behind him. Then Hiscock, Michael Dowson, Craig Bye and Mick Grant. Stuart Swann, who made a terrible start, got away in last position, is now moving his way up through the field.
That's a lap record for Andrew Johnson on that lap, a 14.25 on his first full flying lap.
And as we see Dowson closing in on Hiscock, it could be that Dowson holds the key to this race, as he might upset everybody's plans, but as he could get in among the Hondas and the Suzukis.
Dowson currently lies 7th in the series after dropping his bike in the first round at Calder and coming equal 3rd at Oran Park.
Average speed's 155 kilometres an hour. In other words, within about 3 miles an hour of the magic 100 mile an hour lap.
McElnay right on the tail of Campbell. Johnson in the lead on bike 7. And there's the dice, McElnay and Campbell. Campbell able to use the 4-stroke power much better through the S's. But on to the main straight now. It's the slipstreaming duel, and McElnay will probably pull out of the slipstream. There he goes. Whether he's got the power at the end of the straight remains to be seen.
And 1.13 the gap between Johnson in the lead and this pair.
McElnay's done it. Can he hold it in the braking area? The lighter bike should do it, and he does.
this stage, Campbell would be happy to sit in behind him on the tactic that he was decided on before the race, and that is that he has to stay with McElnay, nobody between him and McElnay, and then he's safe. Second race, then he can try harder.
But McElnay now riding superbly, blitzing away from Campbell and with his sights firmly set on Johnson. Of course, if he gets past Johnson, then it's up to number 7 Johnson here to decide whether he has to slow down and let Campbell pass.
Because if McElnay wins both rounds of the series today, Campbell must finish second in both rounds to win the series by a slim 2 points. Craig Bye comes up to try and pass Michael Dowson and does it.
0.75 of a second, still the gap, first to second, Johnson to McElnay, a 14.9 Johnson's last lap, averaging 154 kilometres an hour.
That was the dice for 4th and 5th we were watching, between Bye and Dowson.
Bye going well here, wasn't so good at Oran Park, but Johnson has been the fastest qualifier at all rounds. He was fastest at Calder, fastest at Oran Park, and here yesterday also.
And has taken the lap record at both circuits, incidentally, as well. 1/3 race distance gone. Tyre wear soon to be a factor as the tyres start to wear down on this very abrasive Surfers Paradise circuit. Johnson, in fact, has moved to a very hard compound Michelin rear tyre, whereas the Suzuki team of McElnay and Grant have stayed with their English-made Dunlops. In fact, they were very low on tyre stores and had to fly some up from Sydney, supplied by Wayne Gardner.
Just a 1/10 of a second gained by McElnay, 0.64 now, the gap between him and Johnson. And he's working away at it, but he's not in a flurry. Getting information from the pits, he knows he's got plenty of time. But if he can peg Johnson and finish 2 places forward of Campbell, well, then he's got a real advantage. He would come to within 3 points then of Campbell.
McElnay seems to close up tremendously at the furthest point of the corner, around this sweeping right-hander and through the next pair of S's.
How far he gets over. The knee getting down on the track and then him pulling it back as he sort of feels the track out. Classical style. There he had his whole shin down on the track, really.
And now the gap closer still as they come down the straight on lap 7.
And it's 0.45 of a second. Johnson's slowing, though. He's coming out to just over a 15 last lap and a 15.16 this lap. So the gap between the two, as we look then at Campbell in 3rd, is really Johnson slowing, and McElnay probably sitting on about a 15. Hard braking now as they sit up down the back and look at McElnay. Good under brakes, although they naturally close anyway as the speed comes down. He's also made some ground. Double apex corner there, now the S's around Qantas Hill. Out of that, a bit of a short straight to bring him up to a fast sweeper onto the main straight. Now winding up to maximum speed of 260 kilometres an hour, and when they go under the bridge it's around 240 kilometres an hour. Johnson whittling back to a 14.84 as McElnay gets closer.
10 seconds back to Malcolm Campbell behind this dice, but Campbell has now extended his lead on Craig Bye to just over 4 seconds. So as Peter Clifford pointed out, he's certainly riding a tactical race.
Behind Bye is Dowson, Ben Hiscock, the early race leader, Stu Avant, and on 9.
As we watch Andy Johnson go through these series of 2 right-handers here and onto the straight, it appears that the Honda is able to accelerate better through the corners. This 3-cylinder machine, well known for its ability to put the power on the road, It's a very similar motorcycle which Freddie Spencer used to win the World Championship this year, and one of his big advantages was the power drive through the corners, and Johnson has been able to use that to get away from McElnay as they go onto the straight and disallow him the chance to slipstream him.
14.62 Johnson's time that lap. The man behind Yvonne is Mick Grant, McElnay's teammate. This is an important race for Johnson on reasonably similar bikes to run against an aspiring, well, in fact, a Grand Prix contender in Rob McElnay. If he can do well against him, well, then no doubt McElnay will speak well of him overseas. But really, McElnay's the man doing very well in this lot because he has potentially the slower bike. And look at the pressure he's got on him now in the S's. Johnson's time's coming down, right onto the lap record.
The question is, are we seeing McElnay use everything he's got, or is he in fact running a tactical race and just practicing the point at which he might try and pass Johnson on the last lap, which would appear to me to be braking into that right-hander where we saw him at his closest point towards the Honda rider.
I think he's having to work fairly hard to chisel the tenths, but equally I think he's happy to be there and pressuring rather than at this stage going for the lead, even if he could, and having Johnson then reverse the pressure. 13 completed, 2 remain. 6.4 kilometres remaining. McElnay and Johnson have equalled the lap record. Sorry, McElnay, a 14.6, equaling the lap record on both laps 4 and 5. Johnson, a 14.7, so I was wrong about him earlier. Hasn't beaten the lap record, but Rob McElnay has equalled the 3-year-old lap record. My goodness. He's done it. Good riding. Very good riding. Beautifully planned. Smooth.
But let's watch now Andrew Johnson as they come onto the straight to see whether Johnson's power down early can give him the slingshot down the chute. Michael Dowson, meantime, has passed Craig Bye into 4th position and is out after Campbell. Won't do it in the time. Here comes Johnson, the steam train Honda. Last lap board goes out. Can't do it. Stand by for desperation from Andrew Johnson.
And look at McElnay, though. Just now going for everything. And pulling just the few lengths that'll give him a buffer in the danger areas, which are under brakes down the bottom of this short straight. And if he withstands that, and he's done it,
I think he might have been fooling our boy Peter Clifford.
a 14.5 now, a new lap record to Rob McElnay at lap 10. Johnson a 14.6. So this will mean that McElnay will be only 3 points behind Malcolm Campbell. There's 3 points as a difference between first and second. So Campbell cannot afford to be beaten by McElnay.
But can Johnson get the power on in the run into the line?
No way.
McElnay wins the first heat of the Swann Insurance Series. 3rd round, Surface Paradise from Andrew Johnson, and even took his hand off the handlebar to wave to the crowd on his way to the line. So confident was he. And a long way back now comes Malcolm Campbell here on bike 3, and not far behind him is the dice for 4th, and it's Craig Bye by only half a bike length from Michael Dowson into 4th position. Bye on bike 10, Dowson on 1. Then comes David Hiscock, followed by Stuart Barnes and Mick Grant.